Hey, it's Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And since I'm not getting on a plane anytime soon, I thought I would go to Egypt virtually. Anyway, this week we are going to a brand new octave. Now, what does that mean? Well, think of it this way. As we go along our spiritual growth, think of it as like stairs, except that instead of the stair being flat and then this big jump and then flat, it's more like an incline, slight incline, and then you get a big jump, and then you go to the next step, and it's an incline and it goes up, right? So that's how it is, or seemingly is, in our lives. So we've been going on that incline for a little bit, and then now we're ready for that big jump. Yes, that big jump, that octave, that skip to that bigger vibration. Now, it sounds great on paper, sounds like, woohoo, going to a new vibration, this is awesome, higher vibration, Well, here's the thing. There's work involved to get to that next step. And what's happening now is that some of our old patterns and challenges from the past are coming up for resolution. So there are themes. There are themes that come up, and for each person, it's going to be a little different. I can tell you some of the more common themes that come up. But I want you to know that to look for that, because what will happen is that if you don't understand that we're going to this next octave and your old stuff that is not completely resolved, which is completely fine, because you know what, think of it as facets of a diamond. There's a different facet to each problem, and once you've solved that one problem, you get presented the next facet and the next facet. And it's just part of our growth and evolution. You don't have to be mad about it or go, oh, this again, this theme again, and get all upset and like, I thought I healed this already. It's okay. It's okay. Just understand that's another facet. And the thing is during the octave jump, it can come pretty fast and furious and can be super uncomfortable. Okay, so let me give you some themes that are common. One of the most common themes is betrayal. Okay, so this is somewhere in your past you were betrayed. This could be when you were 2. This could be when you were 5. It could be when you were 8. It could be when you were 20. And likely is if you had some betrayal themes when you were under 10, you will likely have repeated those throughout your childhood and adulthood, especially if you have not known that it was a theme and that was something that you could heal. So the universe will keep giving you the circumstances for you to heal. And it's like a never-ending open book test. So if you've healed it to a certain extent, they'll give you a different aspect or a different facet to heal next. And over time, you may find that these become subtler and subtler. So for me, it becomes more and more subtle because I've worked on the same theme for a while. So it's not a big deal if you're working on the same theme. Betrayal is very common. It's not one of my major themes. I'll tell you mine in a moment. But it is very, very common for, I would say, probably 40% of the population. So what else could that look like? That could look like your girlfriend dumping you. That could look like you being passed over for a promotion at work that you've been working 5 years for and were promised. It could be, a spiritual teacher that you expected him or her to do or be a certain way, and they're not. It could be like your best friend keeping a big secret from you. Yeah, so that's example of a betrayal theme. There could be an abandonment theme, although I don't see that as much as the betrayal theme, but that could be it as well. So people leaving you, that kind of thing. There's also themes that pertain to the rest of humanity as well. And now that we're going from summer through, in Chinese medicine, we call it kind of like harvest or late summer, and then to fall, we're going through these elements. We're going through the earth element and then going into the metal element. So that is spleen, stomach is earth. Those are the meridians involved. And then lung, colon would be the metal element. That is the fall. So the energies right now that are coming up to be healed as a theme, and remember, these are pretty intense during the octave jump. Okay, so it's not just you. Okay. Now, if you've done tons and tons of healing and been very, very conscious and a lot of work, it may be very subtle. So you're like, oh, it's not that bad this time, right? Which is awesome. Good for you. So the emotions I'm going to talk about are actually in this, the emotion code book from Dr. Bradley Nelson. and which I highly recommend. It's a great book to do wonderful self-healing on emotions. So helplessness and hopelessness and lack of control are all from row 2, spleen, stomach. That is the earth meridian, okay? And then what else is coming up? Grief. Grief is coming up. Grief and sadness. So grief and sadness are in row 3, which is lung and colon, which is the metal row. So during the change of season, I'm not surprised that we're coming up with these feelings right now. And some of what you may feel may be amplified, not only because of the octave jump you're doing, but because of the octave jump that all of humanity is doing. So humanity, all of humanity is dealing with grief, dealing with lack of control, dealing with hopelessness and helplessness. So, so before I tell you, the 3 steps of how to deal with this, so you can get to that next octave with greater ease, I'm going to share with you vulnerably a little bit about, my challenge. Okay. So one of my challenges, and I like to call these challenges abundance challenges. What is an abundance challenge? Well, anything that feels uncomfortable in your life, that is an abundance challenge, meaning that once you overcome that discomfort and heal it or overcome that obstacle, you become more abundant as opposed to more scarce, right? Your abundance energy increases. So that's why I call them abundance challenges. So it's super uncomfortable when it comes up. And then oftentimes I'm like, oh, great, another abundance challenge, and then if I can kind of giggle a little bit and step back and I go, okay, so what wants to heal in this space? It really, really helps. So one of my challenges personally is wanting to rescue. So the universe will give me situations or people, clients, students, whatever, okay, family members, whatever, will give me situations that will tempt me to rescue. And when I rescue, what that used to look like is I would try to fix things. I would try to fix it for that person so they wouldn't feel uncomfortable, they wouldn't feel bad, they would love me again, whatever, right? So I would want them fixed. That sounds awful. You know what I mean? So where does that come from? Well, now at this level of consciousness, I go, yeah, I could totally see where that comes from. So I grew up with my mom being clinically depressed and me wanting to fix her, me wanting to make things better for her. So I would be a very good girl. I would, I think she said she spanked me only once in my entire life. My brother and sister, she lost count. But anyway, because I was the eldest. So when she was depressed, and she was depressed for a good, more than a decade, and in and out of hospitals and taking medications and stuff like that, I would do whatever I could to try to make her happy. So that's where that fixing comes in, that rescuing comes in. I was trying to help her and trying to do things for her, right? And so that has, permeated my whole life. And I've healed lots and lots of aspects of it. So whenever this challenge comes up, usually it's subtler now, when this challenge comes up, I could still feel the urge to want to fix. And honestly, sometimes it's faster because I'm just, let me fix it. Let me just do some healing on you and let me blah, 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 right? And sometimes I can do that, okay? But more often than not, I'm being challenged to hold back from fixing and giving the answer for the person and allowing them to find their own answers. And that may mean helping them with asking the right question or looking in the right direction or giving them a hint, but not doing the work for them when they're perfectly capable of doing it themselves. And that's harder for me than fixing and rescuing, let me tell you. So it's very, very difficult for me to hold back, hold the space, hold them in love, see them. This is something you can do as well with your loved ones. See them successful, see them happy, see them in your mind the way you wish them to be. And that will really, really help. So right now, my go-to is to step back and to allow, because I want to rescue people, allow them to feel whatever they're feeling right now, even though it's super uncomfortable. Maybe they lose sleep over it, but my job is not to fix them. It's to allow them the space to figure it out themselves, allow them the space to feel whatever they're feeling, and allow them to actually empower themselves with the solution rather than giving the solution to them. And that's That's the difference between, a coach and a healer, per se. So what can you do? Well, I call it the method. So if you find that these old challenges or things are coming up for you and it's super uncomfortable, there's a couple of tips that I have for you. The method, it's actually 3 steps. Step 1 is actually acknowledge it. So acknowledge that this is a pattern. Acknowledge that this is some old thing that wants to heal. See it, understand it, bring consciousness around it. Step 2 is to accept it, as opposed to say, "Woo, I'm going to run away," or push it down, right? Oh, it doesn't exist. I feel just fine. I'm high vibration, right? So we neither want to push it down, nor do we want to run away. And for people, for example, the betrayal theme, very common to run away. You betrayed me. I'm never going to talk to you again. Get out of my face, right? So acknowledge it, accept it. And the third piece is to heal it. So what does that mean? It's actually to process it, to get to another level of understanding and consciousness around it, and to clear it if it's a negative emotion that you no longer need or want. And how do you do that? Well, one of the methods that I like to do, and I talk about this in some of my courses, is vent to your angels. So you have guardian angels and you have what we call a God team. You can call it whatever you want. And the safest way to do this, where you're not harming other humans with spewing out negative energy, is to actually go outside in nature when it's quiet and you're not within earshot of anyone, and just go at it, just vent. And what I often do, I will set a timer, 5-10 minutes, something like that. And I'll consciously, see, I'm not unconsciously venting to whoever's in the room. I'm consciously going, okay, I need to vent. I'm going to vent, and I'm going to go outside. And I tell my, my husband, I'm like, I'm going outside, talking to the angels. And he's like, okay, honey, So I go outside and I allow myself the space to really vent. Now, normally we say, well, it's not really good to vent around people because there's all this negative energy deposited in the space. It's not really great to blame or shame or judge or all the kind of stuff. Well, during this venting session, consciously to your angels will understand. You say, okay, I'm going to actually vent right now, right? So you go ahead and blame and shame and judge and do all that stuff with the intention of them helping you and supporting you. So at the same time you are venting, you're actually asking for support and help with the situation to bring you back to peace, to bring you back to center. Now, I got to tell you, the times that I've done this, I rarely get to 10 minutes. I don't think I've ever gotten to 10 minutes of massive venting when I've really let go. 3 minutes tops, and we're talking like, tears streaming down my face and, and going at it. And it's funny because when you really let it out, if it's safe for you to let it out, obviously, outside without, neighbors calling the cops or something, that in that silence of, finishing your vent and only, right? I remember feeling like angel wings just like encompassing me and hugging me. And I was like crying even more, of course, after that. And it's a beautiful thing. So that is the proper way to vent if you're going to vent. The other tip I have for you is if you happen to have my Light Warrior Bootcamp or associated programs where you have Ascension 1 and 2 tools, or you have Ascension 3 that has Ascension 1 and 2 in it and infused in it, like the jewelry, you can actually just ask it to help you do those, those 3 things, to acknowledge it, accept it, and heal it. So hey, help me with the situation right now, to do all those 3 things. And then just wait. So you can charge your water that way. So for example, if you have water or smoothie, like I do, you can grab your necklace and say, hey, help me with the situation right now. In whatever way is for the highest and greatest good. If you have Ascension 1 and 2, you may want to play those back to back on the MP3 or MP4 and make that intention. Ascension 1 is to clear negative energy, for example, old emotions, old patterns, etc. Ascension 2 actually helps with depositing and downloading positive morphic fields, like joy, love, etc. So you could probably use both. The Ascension 3 jewelry has both infused. However, on the MP3, you have to use one at a time. So those are 2 things. You can vent to your angels, and you can use some of these tools to help you transform that situation. Just remember that it's step 1 is really acknowledging it, because our temptation is going to be to point the finger at somebody else. To go, it's your fault I feel this way. You did something wrong. And the other person, sometimes when they're being projected onto, they're like, what just happened? Like, what just happened? Like, I didn't do anything, right? Like, they're totally like, what's going on? So it's an abundance challenge for both people. And I'll give you a little example. So one of my friends, now this is a friend I've known for, oh gosh, probably most of my skating career. And it doesn't live here in town. But, I learned some pretty interesting esoteric stuff from him. And so we've been friends for a long time. And he's not that great in, with technology. So I did, help him with some technology a little while ago. And there was something I said that really bothered him. And I don't even remember what we were saying. Anyway, so I get this email from him and says, I can't be your friend anymore. The cognitive dissonance is way too much. You said that there's some good things about Trump. And I cannot support anyone that has anything to do with Trump. And I was like, I don't remember what I said. Like, I was like, whoa, right? And I was like, and he's like, well, I cannot support your light warrior mission. I'm sorry, goodbye. In an email. Okay, after how long? 25 friendship, right? So this is an example. So this could be an example of a betrayal theme or an abandonment theme, right? Now, I know this person well enough to know which themes are playing out for him. But anyway, so what do, right? I do what I tell my students to do. I do transformational telepathy. It's actually going to be in my book, as is Perception Kung Fu and the Reframe Reliever, which is very, very helpful in this space. So those are chapters in my Sensitivity is Your Superpower book that's launching in December. And don't forget, in November, we're actually launching another book on how to stay peace and calm in a seemingly toxic world. That's called Navigating the Clickety-Clack. So we have two exciting books coming up to help support you in your journey. Anyway, so I do transformational telepathy and, share all the love-warming feelings about this person. And then I thought to myself, how is he supporting my light warrior mission? And I was like, I'm not quite sure, really. I was like, well, he's not on Facebook. He's not liking my posts. He's not buying my bestseller book. He's not writing every review. Okay, well, if you need to go, you need to go, right? So my job is just to love him. And I was sad, definitely sad, that he felt that way. But I did, explain to him an email. I wasn't even sure he was going to open the email, but I just did explain to the email. I said, look, I believe there are good things about everybody, whether it be Trump or Joe Biden or whatever. I mean, I don't prefer either of them. I don't resonate with either of them, honestly. And I think that one of the themes of the dark side is to divide people, loving, beautiful people. It's like divide and conquer, right? So I'm like, don't fall for it. I did say that. I said, don't fall for it. Don't let him win, breaking up a 25-year-old relationship over a statement that I may or may not have, said in a way that, anyway. So he did, come back and he said, I'm sorry, I probably should have called you to discuss it. I'm like, yeah. He says, okay, now I understand more what you're, I just can't, I've lost all these friendships. And here's the thing, it's like, is it worth it? Is it worth it to be divided over our perceptions and opinions, which tomorrow could be shown as being wrong? So I'm open to being wrong, and my perceptions and beliefs change every day based on new information. I constantly say that. So it's not set in stone. And I just find living this way much more peaceful, much more joyful. And I think our relationships, our love, and our connection with each other is so important. And actually our power and our strength as unity consciousness, as a people. I went on a tangent there. But anyway, I want to share that with you as an abundance challenge that came up for me recently. Some announcements. Good news. There is a weekend replay, encore replay of the Healing with Vibration Telesummit. Thank you, Lloyd, for doing that for us. So all of the talks are going to be open for free over the weekend. Definitely catch my talk if you didn't already, because I did a download of resiliency codes. Resiliency codes help you and your energetic body become more resilient to what otherwise would be toxic energies, whether that be EMF or toxic mold or whatever. you can download these posomorphic fields to you with the Toppan healing directives that I do in the actual interview, so you can receive that download for free. And then if you're like me and you're super busy and you can't watch all the amazing talks all at once, I usually buy it because, and I did, because healing with vibration is super important. I think we're going to hear more and more about it. I know Lloyd said this is it, the one summit, and he has no plans for another one. Maybe we can convince him. But I think it's super important because this is the new frontier in healing. It's not just about, vaccines or medications or pills or surgery. It's certainly not just about botanicals or even Chinese medicine or Ayurvedic medicine, everything like that. This is the new frontier. This is quantum medicine. This is tapping into the quantum realm. Whether that be vibration through, like Toppan healing, those healing vibrations, whether that be light, whether that be sound, whether that be the speed of thought. I mean, all these different things are vibration. So this is the next, the next step, in human evolution of healing. So anyway, so if you don't have time to watch all of them, I would encourage you, to get the package, which is what I did. So I can, listen to them at my leisure, over time when I have time. Because he's like I said, right now he's just going to do it once. But I'm just so grateful that I was part of it and was invited for the telesummit. So if you are like, what are you talking about, Dr. Karen? Definitely check out the link I'll post near this video, and that is my affiliate link, which tracks you to me as a referral to his summit. So if you have not already watched it all, definitely, go to the link and register for that so you can get in on the weekend free replays. And I just want to say a quick hello and welcome to all my new Light Warrior members and tribe who actually came from the Healing with Vibration Telesummit. We are so pleased to have you as part of the tribe and so pleased to welcome you, a sensitive soul, to the tribe. So a big shout out and big hugs to all of you. The second announcement is that on Monday's Light Warrior Radio Show at 12 noon, I have Dr. Dennis Lobstein with me. It's the first Monday of the month, and we do the Ask the Lifewave Doctor show. In this case, it's going to be perfect for the fall because we're going to be talking about acupuncture points, Chinese medicine related to how you treat the symptoms of sadness and grief, because there's a lot of that going on right now. And how to use phototherapy patches, the LifeWave phototherapy patches, to patch specific acupuncture points in specific protocols to help you with different kinds of sadness, different kinds of grief. So it is advanced patching. So if you're interested in that, please come on the show live. And if you have a LifeWave question to ask, whether that be, related to grief or sadness or something completely different, you can ask about your ankle, your hormones, libido, whatever. We can help you with some personalized protocols as well. So we have a Q&A section on the live show. You can just call in or you can click the link and put your question in the chat, and Dr. Dennis would be more than happy to help you with a personalized protocol, as will I. So that's the Spiritual Medicine Digest for this week. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel and you're watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next week. Lots of love. Bye for now.